I keep forgetting that he's got that intro embedded, so we can't play over it from the start. So that's why we got a bit of the women's intro, and then we got the main intro. Anyway, good evening, folks. Welcome on to the Rangers Ramble Women's Show. I'm in the hot seat tonight because Brian's got some motor issues, so he's called off at the last minute, and it suddenly dawned on me half an hour after he said he wasn't on. Oh shit, I'll be hosting. But anyway, I'm ably assisted tonight by two of the usual three musketeers. Unfortunately, Laura's away doing her hair or doing something ridiculous tonight. Oh, Carl's just...
It's fine. It's fine.
Carl's wrecking the house or throwing the cat away or doing something. Anyway, Carl, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm a bit knackered, but I'm all right.
Tell me about that. We'll maybe talk about that later. And Alan, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Slightly concerned for Zeus's safety there, but...
He's fine.
So, before we start, I'd like to put on official record on YouTube my thanks to Alan for getting me from Kilmarnock to Meadowbank yesterday, so I could do both games. Much appreciated, Alan. It was very good. I assume the chauffeur's hat and the wee bit concerned getting a shirt and tie on right enough, but the hat was sufficient, I suppose. Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to go too much with the effort, but we're very, very kindly treated by the traffic. And you had a good suggestion for a parking spot for Kilmarnock, so he did a quick getaway.
It did after you took us around places and streets in Kilmarnock I didn't even know existed, because I would have gone a different way to where you parked it. But it doesn't matter, it's all done. We got there. And Karen and Laura were already there. Flags up, show racism, the red card, placards and badges out, because it was, of course, show racism, the red card weekend. And Karen, it was nice to see that not only did the women's team take part in it, a lot of our supporters were more than happy to take part in it as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's down to Laura organising that, getting that sorted. I didn't realise that was something that supporters groups could get involved in. I thought it was just clubs and that did that, but Laura and her tricks found a way to get us involved, so I was handing out the placards and the badges to everyone, and everyone was a good sport and held them up. So yeah, it was a good showing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was quite surprised when Laura said she'd have the show the racism, the red card badges and placards and stuff like that. So yeah, it was nice to see. Alan, it's obviously always a good initiative that they do every year. I thought they might have made a bit more of it this year with the guy that first started that. Forgive me, I forget his name. Passed away a couple of weeks ago. I thought they might have made a wee bit more of it because of that, but still, it's always nice to see they continue the show racism, the red card message.
Yeah, it's a very worthwhile campaign. We see more and more how it affects players that are sort of subjected to that sort of abuse. From the stands and particularly on social media, you get that so much now. So it's always a very worthwhile campaign to get involved in, and one we obviously fully support. Yeah,
absolutely. And before we get into the carnage of yesterday, I'm going to delay that as much as I can. The both of you, along with Laura and several others, were at the training day at Auchenhowie last Tuesday. So, Alan, give us a quick summation of what happened at the training day at Auchenhowie.
The team liked doing rondos because they spent a long time doing extensive rondos. I think anybody would expect that it's a bit of a dialed down training session. I don't think we're ever going to go and be treated to set piece drills and deep tactics. But it was a great experience. Particularly for the younger kids, but also for the older kids that just enjoyed a wee bit of walk around the training centre. Got to see the players sort of relax a wee bit. And one thing I did notice, the tempo was really good. Tempo is very high. In training, and Jenna Fife is an incredible finisher, which was the biggest takeaway probably from the actual training part of it.
Yeah, Carl, so what did you take? I mean, I think you were at the one last year as well, I believe. Were you at the one last year? No, you weren't at the one last year. Okay, sorry, I thought you were. So what was your take on the training day on Tuesday?
Yeah, it was good. It was well organised. They had a lot of different things set up. They had face painters, but it was set up with tattoos, so the kids could get Rangers related tattoos, airbrushed kind of things on. They had Empire biscuits and wee masks of Broxy and a football freestyler, which I don't know, wasn't my kind of thing, but the kids seemed to enjoy it and got involved with that. And then Mark Haitley was there, which is always nice to hear him speak. And then Joe had a wee speech. It was Liv's birthday, so we all sang happy birthday to Liv. And then it was just interesting watching them train. Nick scored, which was quite nice, and we all made a big deal out of that because Nick scored from a long ball, which was exciting. And Joe looked I don't know if she was pleased or she was just more annoyed at us for celebrating as much because she told her not to do that and she scored off of it. But it was a good day out. It was good. You can see what they're trying to do with it to get people more interested in the team. So it's a good initiative.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like a good initiative. I mean, it's primarily for the kids. That's why they have it during the kids' holidays. But it is good.
Talking to Mark Cayley, but being there, it really made me feel old when he's talking about son Tom retiring this summer. I remember when Mark Cayley was playing for us, and his boy used to be running about in the Rangers Gold videos he held. For him to now be retiring for his football career, that made me feel a wee bit old.
Yeah, I remember Mark Cayley signing for Rangers, and it makes how do you think it makes me feel? But I'm a bit disappointed if there was tattooists and face paint and stuff. We didn't get a photo of Alan's magnificent baldy head with some sort of tattoo or face paint or something on it. I'm disappointed you never took that opportunity, Alan.
No, I was stuck up the back row, couldn't get out.
hiding out the road. Right, anyway, on to yesterday. Can't really put it off any longer. Well, probably could, but we better not, because there is another pod coming up at 7:30. So yesterday, we, as I said at the start, we made the sojourn through to Meadowbank, which is a horrific place to watch football. Really, really horrific place to watch football. You're far too far from the pitch because of the running track. You're far too low. Yesterday it was awful because it was really, really, really windy. I mean, it was usually windy there, but it was horrendous yesterday. There was a pitch inspection at 12 o'clock, which it obviously passed. I'm not quite sure why, because the weather was okay when we got there, but I'm not sure that was maybe about the wind, and because there was a few things kind of bowling about. I'm not quite sure what that was all about. But anyway, the team that started was Jenna Fife in goal, and then we had Nick Dock, Cathy Hill, Leah Eddy, Brogan Hay, Mia McCauley, Kirsty McLean, Olivia McLaughlin, Camille Lafay, Kirsty Howitt, and Rio Wilkinson. Car, strong enough team for you?
Rio Wilkinson?
It's Katie Wilkinson. I wish Rio was right.
Sorry, I've got Rio written beside her name. Sorry, Katie Wilkinson. I'm glad you're listening.
Now we know who does Rangers social media.
Congratulations, you're paying attention. Good.
I mean, I was quite happy with it. I would like Rio to start because I don't know what she needs to do to get a start. She scored in the last 2 games now and has offered a bit more than Kirsty Howitt and Katie have in the last couple of games. So that's probably one. But I was happy that Camille finally started in the place of Charlie Devlin. That I think cheered all of us up a little bit. Other than that, I kind of expected that team. That's kind of the team that seems to be the one that's playing all the time now.
Yeah, Alan, same for you. Is that sort of what you expected, or did you maybe think Jane might have started, or maybe stuck Tess in for a bit of dig, or what do you think was it sort of team you'd have gone with?
The first one, the first one to jump out are Jenna Fife starting on our 100th appearance for a club, which we found out after a game. So, a brilliant achievement for Jenna. She joins the 100 club, but to be honest, probably Rio starting was the biggest surprise for me. I said on our pod yesterday that I'd like to have seen Laura Rafferty come in, but I think we already stayed in the team based on our experience of playing at Meadowbank and our knowledge in that Hibs team.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Raf has to do to get a start, Car. You know what I mean? It mystifies me. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously capable. She played a few games for us. She's seasoned international player, played a lot down south. So I don't see. I get to an extent that seems to be the back three, Nick, Leah, and Cathy. That seems to be what it is. But I mean, they could do with a bit of a rest at some point, and Raf's more than capable, or play a back four. I know we don't necessarily need it a lot of the time, but it means that you can push Nick and whoever's out in the wing higher up, and then they can offer us a bit more width. But Joe's sticking with that, so that's just what we've got to get on with.
Yeah, Alan, as John says here, our form's dipped. I mean, obviously, everybody will know the result. We did draw the game 1-1. So our form has dipped. The last few games we haven't been good enough. Do you think if we did sort of change from the back three, that might help the form against the so-called bigger teams, the better teams in the league?
Possibly, or I think we spoke about it a lot recently. At the start of the season, we were experimenting with a back four. Strangely, we first experimented with a back four under Joe in the cup final last year. Which is the first time we'd seen it, but it's not been seen for weeks. We didn't even employ that in the European games, and the form's been really sort of disappointing since we came back for Europe. You know, we have sort of spoke about that, but that's been 7 games since we came back from the European games, and we've drawn 3 at the last 4. You know, even the games we've won, we've not been overly impressive. Perhaps save for the win away at Hearts.
Yeah, I mean, Carl, we'll touch on that now. I was going to leave that till after we've talked through the game, but if we can put that off, then we'll put that off. 3, as Alan says, 3 of the last 4 games have been draws against teams that are the rest of the top 5, really, because the top 5 is going to be in some sort of order Rangers champions, and then behind them is going to be in some order Glasgow City, Celtic, Hearts, and Hibs. And we've beaten Hearts, drawn with the other 3, which really isn't championship form, and it quite frankly isn't good enough.
Well, no, especially when you look at the likes of the Celtic game where we played really well. So the performance there wasn't as bad as it has been the last few games. So to then draw that game, I think, got more into their heads. And then since then, we've just, I don't want to say capitulated, because we haven't totally, but we don't look like ourselves. The passing, whether it's the tactics, have changed. Joe's telling them to do what they're doing, which I'd like to think she's not doing that, because that's just far too passive if that's the case. Something's happened, whether it's within the squad or just they're all just a bit fatigued and they need a bit of a rest. I don't know what it is, but something's going on somewhere, whether it's psychologically or physically, that it's not working and it needs sorted out over the international break.
Yeah, indeed, right, Alan. As Paul says here, first half we didn't play to the conditions. I would say the entire game we didn't play to the conditions. A couple of shots off the post, but we should have been battering in the shots. And that was something that we were getting frustrated at. Not just yesterday. I mean, it was the same last week as well against City Ibrox. You know, it's the fact that we're not shooting. We're trying to walk the ball, and it's akin to watching the men's first team at times.
Yeah, listen, I think we scored 3 goals from outside the box all season. You know, and that says up to 50 plus goals. You know, that's not really a good enough start. And yesterday, especially we win, it was quite swirly, but it was mostly behind us in the first half. We really had to be taking more shots on. And in fairness, I actually think we did take more shots on from outside the box than I've seen us do at any point this season, but we never put enough pressure on the keeper. And it's a totally different complexion on the game if either Katie Wilkinson's shot that hit the post or Kathy's shot that hit the other post had went in, but we really needed to make a keeper work. And, you know, she's obviously got plenty of experience in goals. She's on loan for Glasgow City, and we've never really tested her right through the game.
Yeah, so to keep it chronological before we talk about the 2 shots that come off the post, obviously we were a goal down when they happened. And the Hibs opened the scoring quite early from a penalty from the Lassie Adams car penalty all day long.
Yeah, I mean, any goes kind of through the back of our chops or down. It's a penalty. If that happens to us, you're screaming for it, so it's absolutely a penalty. But I'm out of breath running down my stairs to go and answer the door. The foul before that led to the penalty, shouldn't it have been a foul? I don't know. I'm sure we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, that was Alan. That was, I think, from memory, it was Camille Lafay took the ball down on her chest, spun the Hibs player absolutely bonny, and the referee gave them a free kick, and they got the penalty off it. Ridiculous.
I've absolutely no idea what the referee's seen that he gave a free kick to Hibs. You know, absolutely no idea. You know, shocking decision, but, you know, Rob Camille the credit, you know, she deserved for the way she tapped the ball, turned the Hibs player and started to move out of trouble. But, you know, that being said, the free kick's been given, you know, we've got to defend it better. You know, it was a clumsy tackle, you know, and, you know, you seen it, you know, it seemed to affect young Kirsty. Yeah,
I mean, Cara, I think back to a story I heard from the men's first team many years ago when Paul Gascoigne was told, don't tackle, because you've got all the skill in the world, but you're a classy midfield player, but you can't tackle. And if you want to help, the best help you can do is don't tackle. I think somebody should be saying the same to Annie, because, quite frankly, for all she does, she can't tackle.
Yeah, it's not really something that she's ever been the one to do. She's the one that does the skills and frills and, you know, the step overs and whatnot, and then gets the ball out of danger. She's never really been the one that does that kind of thing. So I don't know if being out for a while with the injury that she had is just kind of, she's panicked a little bit and thought, I'll get the ball, it's fine. And it's just gone absolutely through the lassie. So I don't know if that's something to do with it But I think you're probably right in that case. Just leave that to someone else, and she can focus on the rest of it.
Yeah, and Alan, as you say, it was a Stonewall penalty, and the last period in the middle, Jenna picked a side, picked the wrong side. 1-0 to Hibs, and they probably, on the balance of play up to that point, probably just about deserved the lead at that point.
Probably, Hibs managed not to struggle playing against the wind in that first half. A couple of goal kicks kind of spun back on him, but they played the conditions pretty well through 90 minutes, and there's not much criticism we can level at a keeper if he concede a penalty, unless you get a really weak candidate if he gets right. But nothing Jenna could have done about that one unless she'd gambled on staying still.
Yeah, as we touched on there, after that, the game it wasn't great. It was difficult to play in the conditions, and then out of nowhere, Wilco hits one, and it nearly takes the post away.
Yeah, I mean, a wonderful strike. I'm always screaming at them to take shots from distance, so we were doing that. I think the wind was kind of helping in that fact. I thought maybe if I hit this, the wind will catch it and take it in. We just got unlucky that unfortunately I hit the post. Same with Kathy's one. I don't know if that was before that. I think that was before that. I don't know. But they were taking shots because I think they realised that it wasn't going to work the way we normally play, trying to walk it in, even though we seem to revert back to that most of the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think Kathy's one was after that, because it was. I mean, bizarrely, Wilco's one isn't in the Rangers highlights. I don't know why. I mean, it's a great hit off the post. It's not in the highlights. They seem to have this thing with highlights missing out quite important parts of the game. But I mean, I don't know why. But I think from memory, Kathy's was after that. And I mean, Alan, that was some hit as well. And as Carl said at the game, she'd have been dining out on that for a long time had that gone in.
Yeah, she absolutely would have been. That would have been an unforgettable goal for Kathy, because she carried the ball quite far, if I remember right. And then, Kathy's obviously stronger on her right side, but she's bent one in, with her left foot, and it's beat Erin Clarkers all ends up, but absolutely cannoned off the far post.
Yeah, absolutely. So 1-0 at half time. Carl, were you expecting changes at half time? I mean, there wasn't any, but were you expecting any?
Well, initially, yeah, because I saw Rio and can't remember who else, maybe Jodie. I don't know. They went in pretty early on, like before halftime, maybe like 5-6 minutes before halftime. They went in, so I thought they're coming on at halftime because there's no reason she'd send Rio and whoever, I can't remember who it was, out to go and get changed or whatever they're doing to then come out, warm up, and then be ready for the second half. But obviously something's happened, or she's changed her mind, or they were told you can't do it, and she's not made the subs at halftime. But then she could have made them a bit quicker than she did. Obviously she goes and makes 65 minutes or whatever, but Joe's subs recently have been bizarre in my opinion. Needs to be making better subs quicker, and all of them. There's no reason to only make 2 or 3 subs a game when we can make 5.
Yeah, Alan, we spoke about it last week on here, that against the bigger team she's only making 2 or 3 subs. I mean, she only made the 2 yesterday. As Carl says, she brought on Rio for Kirsten Howitt after 65 minutes, and then Raf came on with 10 minutes to go for Brogan Hay, which was quite strange when we were chasing a goal. But
substitute, absolutely baffling. We all want Raf to get more game time. We think absolutely Raf deserves more game time, but to bring her on for Brogan, we were chasing at least 1 goal, if not 2, to try and win the game. Was crazy. That game was crying out for players that will embrace a wee bit of chaos. The likes of Megan Bell and Jodie McLeod, that game was tailor-made. There's nothing happening for Katie Wilkinson. We've got Jen Ross on the bench. We've got Jane Ross back to fitness, and we've punted Laura Berry out on loan. Just to no play Jane. It doesn't make sense. And as Carl says, the subs and the lack of subs recently is absolutely baffling.
Yeah, it was baffling. It was baffling for me as well. As I say, we're obviously chasing a goal after Hibs to at least second half was kind of. It was the whole game actually was like my journey home. It started off quite frantic, then it became a wee bit concerning, and then it came all right in the end. But it was the lack of substitutions is quite worrying that Joe's not seeing the chance to use, like Jodie. I mean, Jodie's a ball player that plays the ball on the ground. Conditions like that, you've got to play the ball on the ground. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why you bring on Laura Rafferty for Brogan Hay, because Laura Rafferty, with the best will in the world, has never played wide in a million years.
No, I mean, especially when you look at the bench. Yes, Lizzie wasn't on the bench for whatever reason, whether she's got an injury or whether she was kind of dropped to make space in the squad for, I guess, Kirsty McLean. But you've got Ailey Austin there that could come in and play wide. If you want to bring Raf on, that's fine. Bring her in the back line where that's her normal position. And then you could take Kathy or Leah or Nick, get rid of them, off. And then you put Ailey on, you put Jodie on, you put Megan on. And that gives you more energy, gives you a bit more freshness, because they're all really wanting to play. You can tell that by how, annoyed Megan is after games when she's not getting any minutes. And they would offer us a bit more. So it's just bizarre, isn't it? You'd love to ask Jo that, but you'd never get a straight answer out of her, because she always says we've got the best squad in the league. We need to rotate. We need to keep everyone happy. And the last, 4 games, we've not been doing that. So, but she keeps saying it. So it makes no sense to me that she keeps perpetuating this notion, but then isn't putting it into action.
Yeah, and Alan, John Weir makes an absolutely point here that we've been saying, well, you've personally been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, that we are sorely missing Chelsea Connor. And yesterday that shone like a beacon in the wind.
Yeah, definitely. And with going back to the sort of lack of subs, the fact that Liv McLaughlin again played 90 minutes and she's absolutely knackered, and Kirsty McLean played 90 minutes is absolutely mind-boggling. But, I've been shouting and singing Chelsea's praises for the last sort of 18 months. She's been absolutely massive part of this team under Jo Potter, and she's so important to the sort of energy and that midfield that brings intensity to the full team up. And I think everybody's realising just how big a miss she is. Thankfully, she's at sort of her knee brace. She's getting closer to training, and she'll hopefully be sort of back on the pitch next month. But she's been a massive loss to the team.
Yeah, and Cars, Paul's asking a question here. Not something I really thought about. Has Mia been told not to go as far up the line now? She seems hampered. I didn't really notice that, but obviously it may be different watching it on the telly or whatever. But
we'd said that Mia didn't look herself. She was kind of going up a little bit and then seemed to be looking for the pass, and nobody was giving her the option. So she was getting annoyed and then just playing it back the way. Or in the second half, she eventually did get up a little bit, but didn't look her usual self. I think it was you, or it was Alan. Somebody shouted, "How many times do you need to beat her?" Because she would beat the lassie, go past, and then turn around and play it back into the middle of the park. So I don't know if it's a confidence issue. They're all feeling a bit, I don't know what to do here. No one's helping me. I'll do the safe option, rather than at the start of the season we're playing so freely that they would just get to the byline and put passes into the box.
Yeah, it was me. It's a pet hate of mine when a winger decides they're beating the fullback 3 or 4 times. Just get past them once and do something with the ball. That's all you have to do. And Alan, Paul's going as usual. He's always brilliant in the comments on these shows. And Paul, thanks very much for always tuning in. He says, second half, don't know if you guys noticed, but Jay was going ballistic with the 4th official. I got a message about this during the game. We obviously couldn't see that because the technical area is the other side from us. And it's, as I say, it's a horrible place to watch football, because they're basically the entire width of a pitch and 2 sides of a running track away from us, so they're absolutely miles away. So you can't really see what's going on. So I don't really know what Jay would have been going mental with the 4th official about.
Probably the amount of blatant handballs the referee completely ignored for the Hibs players, but it wasn't something I noticed at the time, and I've not seen any highlights of that to see what Paul's seen, but probably just Jay giving Jo a rest for giving a hard time to the officials, because it's usually Jo giving a hard time.
Yeah, Karen, it's usually Jo. She normally, I don't know if anybody else is, I don't know if they pick it up, if people that aren't at the game could pick it up, but normally when she comes out at the start of the game, she actually goes and makes a point of speaking to the assistant referee nearest her, shakes either his or her hand, depending on who it is, and has a wee word in their ear. I don't know whether that's to prepare them for what's coming.
I suspect it is. I'm wondering with Jay, because I noticed that numbers came up on the board, and then disappeared again, and then the sub wasn't made for a good 5 or 6 minutes after it. So I'm wondering if they said, listen, we want to make this sub quickly, and the fourth official said, you'll wait until we're ready, kind of thing. But potentially that's what it was, or there's just something else, I don't know. But, I mean, Jo always does that. She goes and shakes her hand, and, you know, pleasantries, they always seem to have a bit of a laugh, and then when she's shouting at them, probably 5-10 minutes later, they seem to go a little bit lighter on her, and I don't know if that just gets into their head a little bit. Oh, she's nice, it's fine. But we like to think we don't get any preferential treatment, but I'm sure that plays in their mind a little bit, like, oh, just it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, she's long enough. She's long enough in the game, and she's been involved at a high enough level that she probably does know all the tricks and all the mind games. You know what I mean? And it's particularly the level of referee that they get up here. You know what I mean? They're not the best. So as the game went on, obviously we're still a goal down. We're huffing and puffing. Not a lot's happening. We're looking for substitutions that aren't happening. Hibs are still quite busy. I think they thought they kind of had it in the bag, and then all of a sudden they give away a free kick in about the 92nd minute on the edge of the box, and the Rangers players go into a sort of powwow. 3 or 4 of them round the ball, a wee powwow, and they break away, and then Wilco just sticks a foot through it and talk us through it after that.
Pretty much a ball falls to the person you want it to fall in, and a smash in the box, and Rio Hardy's at the back post. You know, keepers get no chance. You know, Rio Hardy's far enough past her, and she's got about 3 or 4 yards to sort of knock it in, and that just gave us a huge boost, because it looked like it was going to be a day we just wouldn't score no matter how many minutes the referee added on, which amazingly was only 3. But well, as Paul says,
I'm actually glad Paul's here and paying attention, because I completely forgot. I've got it written in front of me as well. Carol, throw this one to you. I'll come back to you in a minute. Sorry, Paul, I've completely missed it, and I've got it written here. Towards the end of the game, Hibs awarded another penalty. I didn't see the incident at the time. I was checking on the status of the bus I was going to run away to catch, which didn't turn up in the end. You thought at the time it was a penalty. Having watched it back, never a penalty in a million years.
Well, no, because at the time, the way the lassie goes down, it looks like she's like being studs on her ankle, or she's really being clipped to go down that way. So I just assumed that, like, aye, that's a penalty. But watching it back, I don't know if Leah maybe stands on the front of her boot, if that. But that's the only contact that could potentially be there. To make the lassie go down like that, there's not enough contact. So she buys it, which is fine. They're going to do that. But then you go back to the City game, Charlie Devlin does the same thing, and everyone's saying, that's never a penalty, she shouldn't be going down in the box like that. So you can't have it both ways. Either they're both penalties or none of them are penalties. But he gives the penalty. Of course he does. But she goes the same way, and Jenna Fife goes the right way, because it's the same way she's gone earlier in the game, and she saves it. Potentially a little bit early off her line, but that's karma for us, them getting a penalty that I don't think's a penalty. So.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, if the referee did think it was a foul that merited a penalty, surely in the position of the box it was in, it's a yellow card for Leah Eddy, who's already on a yellow card. So surely if he's convinced it's a foul by Leah, then he's got to send her off.
No, because I don't believe every foul is necessarily a yellow card. You know, there were 2 players getting in for that challenge with the Hibs player, you know, because Kirsten McLean was there as well. You know, sometimes it's just a foul, no more. I think we'd be going absolutely ballistic if she'd get yellow carded for that.
Well, certainly would have been given the fact that it wasn't a foul in the first place. But I mean, you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, Paul. Sorry, I missed that. That was there, and it was one of the pivotal moments in the game. It didn't have very many. So, Car, as Alan said, we 93rd minute. Wilco's free kick, keeper parries out. It's actually a decent save by the keeper. I've seen it back. It's a decent save, and I had a good view of it at the time. And then obviously ball drops to Rio. It's 1-1, and Hibs are absolutely distraught.
I mean, yeah, that was enjoyable to watch, to just see them all just slump over. It's like the air just got knocked out of them, because they thought 93rd minute, no chance they're coming back from this. We've got 3 points off them. Great. And they just take their eye off it for a second. Keeper makes a great save, but you've got to be aware of who's there, and it's Rio Hardy who's always going to be in the right place and smash it into the back of the net, and they're all just despondent at that point. So we grab the ball, which is daft, don't know why we do this, back in the centre circle, and then we have a really good chance again after that, because he played another 2 or 3 minutes after that, which should have been added on. It was never 3 minutes, it should have been way more than that, to put another blame on the referee at that point. But we really took a lot from that. It seemed to G up the team, which is a bit late to get G'd up for a game in the 93rd minute, but if it worked, it would have been tremendous to steal 3 points from a game that we really didn't deserve anything from at that point.
Yep. Alan, I'll throw this comment from Kevin to you. He says Rangers let the fans down with that performance. I'm hoping that he's meaning this to be in the chat for the ladies' game, because that certainly applies for the men's game earlier in the day, but we're not here to talk about that. Let's assume that he is in the correct chat. So, did they let us down with the performance?
More than us, I think he probably let themselves down. You know, I think they're going to look back on this run of games and this sort of block between internationals and be very disappointed with it. You know, I think they're probably hurting themselves. You know, we know how much they were hurting after losing the league last year. You know, and they don't want to go for a really great start this year to really dropping off early. You know, it's something the players will be really disappointed in. You know, I think you could tell that the way they came off the park. So I think it's more that they let themselves down a wee bit with that performance.
Carl, is it really as bad as it seems to be, having dropped 6 points in the last 4 games, given that we all said ourselves at the start of the season that we couldn't have picked an easier start, or a more favourable start. I don't want to say an easier start, a more favourable start, because we didn't play any of the other top teams until now, but we're playing them all consecutively. So had we played maybe a Montrose, Dundee United, then they threw Hearts in there, and then another couple of smaller teams, then they threw Hibs in there, and the results were similar, would we be thinking the same?
Probably not, because if there was a performance in there against the likes of Montrose or Queen's Park or whoever in between a couple of draws, you think, well, it's not all bad, but because they've been so close together, I think it has made it seem worse than it probably is. But I think they will look like, if we go and lose this league, which I'm hoping will not happen, I don't think will happen, they will look back on this run of games and say that's where it was going to be, like last season and the season before all over again, where you can pinpoint Partick Hearts games that they should have absolutely won and didn't. For me, the Celtic game's the worst one, being 2-0 up and then ending up with a draw, and that is way worse, because I knew Hibs had improved, and Hibs have improved, so have Hearts, so most teams in the leagues. So I don't know.
Alan, I'll ask you the same question. If the games are a wee bit more mixed up by not playing the 4 nearest rivals, if you like, consecutively, but playing them mixed in about the other teams, would we be thinking, well, we've dropped 6 points, that's not very good, or would we be thinking, well, we're actually in a decent situation here?
No, I actually think that we've had enough sort of games in between them, because we come back and we played Spartans, then we went and played Hearts, down up to Dundee United, who we should have absolutely hammered, and we laboured to win. We didn't score until 70-odd minute up at Dundee United, and then came out like an absolute train and had the ball in the back of net twice in 8 minutes against Celtic, and ended up, drawing that game, throwing that away. Played Marlow after that, a game we should have won comfortably, and we kind of labour again to a 2-0 win, and then draw against City and Hibs. So I think there's been enough games within that run to sort of balance him out and give us a chance to prepare for these games. But that run of form, hasn't been good enough. But you've got to say, I'd rather that run of form came now. There's plenty of time to work on things. There's plenty of times to sort of move on and sort of fix any issues that are going on and get some players back fit. Yep.
So Alan, sticking with you then, Papa Bear saying they feels like they've lost a bit of the tempo that they had before the losses in Europe. Wonder if European losses had any impact on them. We actually asked that very same question yesterday, to kind of between each other.
Yeah, listen, it's a concern that possibly some egos and some sort of belief has been damaged. We're for Joe right through the staff, right through the team. we went down to Arsenal expecting to give him a game. You know, I think everybody expected we'd put up a decent showing. We probably wouldn't win, you know, but we'd at least go and sort of compete. And to come away shipping 9 goals between that game and Atletico Madrid, you know, and not lay a glove on anybody, I've no doubt it's dented some confidence, you know, and possibly some egos as well. So it's something, we've now had 7 games after that. We've got a wee bit of a break now. A lot of players go away for a change of scenery. We have to come back and get back at it. The tempo absolutely has to increase because it's been far, far too slow. And I'm basically just practicing saying that for, well, saying half an hour, you know, on the 7:30 pod. But, you know, the tempo is far too slow. We look too deliberate, and I wonder if we're just too much instruction going to players because they're not playing with freedom. You look at, we get a throw in, they're too hesitant to take a throw in to make sure it's the designated player to take a throw in. We're same with corner kicks, you know, making sure they're doing the right routine, where they're taking it short, where they're putting it long, where they're putting it, you know, and it's just too slow.
Yeah, I mean, Carl, I know that you know, when we went professional, you know, they said it's going to be a one club ethos all the way through, you know, the men's team and the women's team. I think they're taking this a wee bit to extremes just now, are they not?
Well, I wish they'd gone the other way, that the men just followed Joe Potter and what the women's team were doing, and then that would have been fine across the whole club. But surely that's not the case. Like, that can't be true that they've been told that, because there's no. I don't believe that. I think it's just coincidence. But
I don't think they've been told, and I'm not a great believer in coincidence. But do you think that the current malaise throughout the club is affecting the women, because it's clearly affecting the men's team? So do you think it's maybe getting to the women's team as well?
I mean, it's the same with any job, isn't it? If there's unrest to some degree within your workplace, it's going to cause issues, but not necessarily ones that you think it would cause. Maybe people are just a little bit annoyed, a little bit frustrated. The likes of Kathy and Kirsty and Nick that go to the men's games are probably annoyed at that situation. Maybe that's playing through the whole board situation, and everything that's going on could potentially filter down. But that wouldn't change the fact that when Mia's got a ball and she can run into space in front of her, why is she stopping and letting them get back in? Because that shouldn't matter at that point in the game.
Alan, sorry, Carl. Alan, it shouldn't matter, but we were saying the same at Kilmarnock yesterday in the men's game. You know, it shouldn't matter, but these things tend to sort of manifest all into one, don't they?
They do, and you know, as Carl touched on, you know, we've got a lot of real Rangers fans in that girls' dressing room, you know, and you could name a load more: Leah, Mia, Jodie, you know, and Mia's sometimes hesitant running down the line, but there's got to be options in the middle of the box. You know, we're too static in the box, you know, and I think that's where it's more important that we get Rio starting. I think even when Rio's not playing well, our movement in the box is outstanding. And as we've seen at the end of the game, if there's a chance in the box, I want it falling to Rio Hardy, because even if she's not playing well, I expect her to stick it away.
Yeah. I mean, Carl, as you said, international break now, no game next weekend because all the internationals, lots and lots of players are away. To the best of my knowledge, unless I've missed it, Rio's not going anywhere. Wilco's not going anywhere. So a chance for them to maybe rest up and get a bit of time to cut it together on the training pitch.
Well, I'd assume that's what they do. They'll probably have a few days off, and then Joe will get the ones that aren't away back in to hopefully do some shooting practice, some tempo practice, some corner practice, work on all those things when you've not got a full squad that you can't work on other things. That would hopefully help things, and then maybe build a bit more of a rapport between them, get a bit more alone time together to just kind of build a relationship, I suppose.
Yeah, and Alan, I think the only other bit of news outside of the playing, we've now got a definitive date for the cup game against Motherwell at K Park.
Yeah, it has been moved now to the Saturday night at 7:45, and as I said last night on the pod, the club have been working on that since the draw was made. You know, the club are well aware it's going to potentially clash, and spoke to Motherwell pretty much as soon as the draw was made. You know, saying they were going to be looking for either an early kick-off time or a Saturday kick-off time. Now, it can't get moved forward on a Sunday because other lets that are booked at K Park, and East Kilbride play at K Park at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, so it left the only sort of available slot being Saturday night. And before the club have confirmed that, they've asked a lot of stakeholders, they've asked for engaged opinion for fans and took feedback on how much it'll suit people. So it'll never please everybody, but we're always asking for fixture clashes to be avoided so that people have the option to at least go to 2 games, even if it causes frictions in some households.
Yep, no, didn't cause any friction in mind for this time. It didn't. She actually suggested I did what I'm doing. So, Carl, do we know, is it on the television or is it just on it Saturday night and it's on Saturday night? Is anybody shown it yet that we know of?
I wouldn't think so, unless it's on BBC Sport Scotland online potentially, but I don't think it'd be on BBC Alba at that time.
Given the ties in that round, I would expect if any games on telly, it's going to be Glasgow City against Celtic.
Right, because it got moved for TV on the Sunday.
Yeah, but is it on Sky, given it's a Sky Sports Cup?
No, I don't think any of them are, Will.
Which is
It's a silly question.
Which is ridiculous. So anyway, as we say, folks, we won't be having a pod next Monday because, quite frankly, we'll have nothing to talk about because I don't do international football and it's international football on their way to play. I don't know if Carl or Alan are intending to go and watch Scotland. I don't even know if Scotland are at home, to be perfectly honest.
Scotland,
they're playing at Easter Road. Yeah, they are, because Demi's going. They're playing at Easter Road. So, are you heading along, Alan?
I'll be at Easter Road, so I'll see Demi there.
Are you heading along Easter Road, Carl?
I'm not, but I'm going to the under-23s at Falkirk Stadium on the Monday afternoon.
Oh,
I don't really like Easter Road. I don't want to try and get home at that time of night from Edinburgh or Leith, wherever it is. So I'll just go to that in the middle of the day and I'll watch it on the telly.
You're safe to say Edinburgh because Carol doesn't watch this. So it's fine.
Right. Before we finish, but Will, if you ducked picking a player of the match, me and Carl both had Jenna as player of the match. We've done it last night, so who would you?
I listened to it earlier. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with Jenna. I mean, a penalty save that effectively won us a point in a game where nobody really played particularly well, But yeah, I mean, Jenna on her 100th appearance, no chance with the first penalty. Tremendous save for the second penalty. Yeah, without question, it's got to be Jenna for me as well. So full house. So there we go. So Carl, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks,
Alan,
Will.
as always, thank you very much indeed. Again, thanks for the lift through yesterday. It was tremendous.
No worries. Thanks for your ticket.
No problem at all. Thanks on behalf of Kevin as well, who hit us at the last minute with how are you getting to Edinburgh and there's a room for me. You know what I mean? But which isn't bad because he runs a supporters bus and he just ditched me when I can see you later. So
he did come over leaving and to say thanks for it. So it's a team effort getting to games. So
absolutely is. Absolutely. So anyway, I'm going to play this outro. Hopefully it works because I've taken the embedded one out. So hopefully this works and we get what we want to get. So folks, we'll see you 2 weeks tonight, 6:30, talking about the next game or whatever else happens in the international bits and pieces. Alan can give us a full rundown on the Scotland game. Carl can give us a full rundown on the 23s. I would tell you who they're playing, but I've got absolutely no idea. So anyway, good night.